Hey guys, Streams here again. This is going to be What If Luffy was reincarnation of Itachi. Now the way I do stuff since What If may be sloppy or weird, but I don't really care. This What If was suggested by Aaron Hayward, I believe. I'm going to go find a screenshot I have. Yeah, Aaron Hayward. He suggested it. Mark Spade made the thumbnail. So, okay. But now I guess we just go over to So Itachi dies in his universe to Sasuke, or Sasuke slash his illness, because I guess Sasuke did play some part of it by injuring him, then sickness must have kicked in. So, yeah. Now, Itachi, soul would reincarnate inside Luffy, who was born, and, well, that's all I can say. This wouldn't be Luffy's DNA inheriting someone, like a prodigy of Itachi. He would be kind of, by default, get the Sharingan, just through reincarnation. That's kind of just how he gets it. So when Luffy gets the Sharingan, well, he gets it like around the same. Next one, Luffy does not eat a devil fruit because I think it'd be kind of stupid that Luffy has such OP powers and the one thing he can't do is swim. So wait, no, I have a better idea. Yep, Luffy's gonna eat the Gomu Gomu no Mi still. Sharingan is just inherited through Itachi's spirit. But Luffy in this one's a lot more calm and a lot stronger. So immediately, we're gonna go to like the Higuma incident when Higuma tries to throw Luffy into the water or kidnap Luffy first. The moment Higuma grabs Luffy by his collar, Luffy is already insanely physically strong for someone his age, and knows a variety of different martial arts. Only the basics of them, but not the exact not the advanced moves or all of them. Just like basic you'd teach like someone who's new to a dojo or something. But yeah, so Higuma had grabbed Luffy. In response, Luffy's immediately whips around, grabbing the wrist of Higuma and twisting. Luffy using his same strength actually able to pop Higuma's wrist out of place. And then Luffy landed on the ground and then did an insanely just explosive kick to Higuma's chest, almost killing him. Or Higuma thought he'd die from it. In reality, Higuma just cough, just kind of, not like when anime or manga characters hit really hard, like somewhere, and then their eyes just go white and they spit out something. Kind of what Higuma looked like. Higuma was sent flying to a wall, and he's unconscious. We have bandits pull out weapons, and when fast forward around 3 hours. Shanks and his crew come back, with the villagers standing in a circle around Luffy in shock. Shanks goes to see what's wrong, because he's Makino there, but doesn't see Luffy anywhere. When he goes to the center of the circle, he sees Luffy covered in cuts, and Luffy's eyes are red, while the bandits are all around him, beaten up. So Luffy drops one of the bandits, saying, "Hey Shanks, I won." Luffy lost one knee, panting, and Shanks just rubs his head, saying, "Damn right you did." And despite Luffy awakening a Sharingan and being able to use his devil fruit properly. But yeah, so I guess we go to when Luffy would meet Ace. Luffy meets Ace. When Ace just tries to spit on Luffy, he's able to dodge it off reflex. Luffy's a lot more just chill. Like, think of Luffy as like Taeyeon from Viral Hit, just a lot more calm. Just not calm, just a little more, like I guess, polite. So Luffy just proceeds to beat up just more of the bandits if they do come at him, but back to Ace. So when Luffy meets Ace, he dodges Ace's spit, and immediately picks up a rock from the ground and throws it at Ace's head full force. Hits Ace right in the forehead and leaves a gigantic bruise as Ace fell off the rock. Ace rips his head and comes up from behind the rock, and Garp could notice that Ace is tearing up from it. Ace will laugh, saying, not Ace, Garp would laugh, saying, "Oh, come on, Ace, little rock made you start crying." Ace would yell in a very, I guess crybaby-ish voice, would say, "I'm not crying." And Garp says, "Your voice says otherwise, you big baby." So, yeah. I guess we go to, I guess the next spot we go, not spot, the next arc, I guess would be the next, not arc. I guess the next few important things would be the next 2 weeks. Luffy just proceeds to body any animals that try to attack him first. Like King of the Forest, Luffy just means fighting it and learning how to control his chakra when fighting it. In the King of the Forest, it was actually able to tell that Luffy is playing around with him, not actually fighting him seriously. The King of the Forest can acknowledge someone so strong isn't even taking him seriously. In the 2 weeks, the King of the Forest finally had enough of Luffy and is a little too weak to fight him. So eventually, Luffy beats him and kills him. And Luffy doesn't know it's not good to just kill an animal, not do anything with it. Luffy's doing one bit of chakra control he knows. He's also gotten the habit of like whittling weapons, and by instinct whittled a kunai, shuriken, senbon, that kind of stuff. So he whittled a kunai and carried that with him everywhere. Now using chakra control, being skinning the whole king of the forest, was not going to be watching. Now when Luffy started doing bad on it, it would ruin the meat and the fur and the hide. Well, Nagari being stepping in, helping Luffy. So he helps Luffy, but Luffy does it perfectly. So once Luffy had finished skinning the whole looking the force with Nagari's help, this happened like I'd say the end of the first week. Luffy and Nagari keep getting along, and Nagari would teach Luffy just a little bit of things he knows. But Luffy, for the first time, Luffy drops off the meat of the king of the forest to dot on like only the meat, the eyes, and that kind of stuff. If someone in the village would want them, they give them to them or whatever. While Nagari would just teach Luffy how to fight and how to make the fur and clothes, the leather, the hide and leather, that kind of stuff. So how to kind of repurpose the body. So once Nagari teaches Luffy how to fight a bit, Luffy already know how to fight. It's just Nagari's unlocking like this inner power he has. So yeah, so I can really say is that Nagari taught him different moves. I guess now we go over to, let's say, so I guess now we go over to the end of the second week. By that time, the bandits are still eating the king of the forest, but they haven't begun to eat a quarter of it. They've only ate one of its legs, and that provided enough food for that whole week. So yeah. Under this time, Luffy unlocks more taijutsu that he had inside himself, and he had learned how to use Sharingan at 1 Tomoe and at a decent level. And with that, he's also able to just basically use Taekwondo and Karate for taijutsu. And, well, using the claws of the King of the Forest, he's able to make a crap ton of shuriken, kunai, senbon. He's only using the claws off of one leg. But yeah, so they're a lot sharper because they're made of bone. Well, deadly animal's bone at that, but also Luffy infuses chakra into them. So now Luffy would go into the terminal because Nagari asked Luffy to get some stuff. Luffy's in the terminal getting materials. He sees Ace and Sabo being beaten up inside a building. Now, when Luffy watches this, he does know that technically Ace is now his adopted brother, and that must be Sabo's friend. Now, Luffy does not Sabo's friend. He knows that must be Ace's friend, and Luffy does feel bad about like he wants to leave, but does feel bad for them. In response, Luffy pulls out one of his kunai, his sunbone, and infuses chakra into it. And for the first time, he'll use a nature release, which is wind. Itachi's natures would be wind, fire, and water. Usually, those are Itachi's natures. Yeah. So Luffy pulls out one of his shuriken, uses it with chakra, and for the first time, he uses his nature release, being wind. He throws it, and the wind chakra begins making it go faster and faster. Eventually, when Portemi go for another punch on Ace, Portemi's arm would suddenly fall off. They see a shuriken in the window, not in the window beam, but in the wall. And before they have time to look where it came from, suddenly Portemi is roundhouse kicked across the face, and when Luffy lands, he just begins punching out the rest of the bandits. Not bandits, but Portemi's group. By the time he drops one of the other guys from holding his hair, Luffy grabs the center of the shuriken and begins cutting Ace and Sabo free. So yeah. So by the time they're free, Luffy begin talking to them, and as he talks to Sabo and Ace on his way back to Nagari holding the materials. As he brings the materials to Nagari, Ace and Sabo question who Luffy is, like where Luffy's going. Luffy says that they can just go all the way back to the bandit's hideout, while he'll go over to talk to a friend. Ace and Sabo follow Luffy. This point, by the way, Luffy's style is more like just wearing like a long sleeve shirt, some shorts, showy sandals, and just having some hair over his eyes. Like not all of it, but some of it grows out over one of his eyes. So yeah. But Luffy brings Nagari the materials. Ace and Sabo did follow him because they don't go back to the bandits. And Luffy introduces Ace as his older brother and Sabo as his brother's friend. So as he's talking, as Nagari's like, "Oh, your friend Luffy's a friend of mine." So they've been talking for a bit, and Nagari offers to train them alongside Luffy. They agree, while Luffy just learns how to tap into his nature at least more, and he's learning how chakra works throughout his whole body. Sabo snuck him into the kingdom once because Luffy wanted to know if they have any books on chakra. He didn't know what it was. Like he knew, like he kind of thought of it and called it chakra, and Nagari did refer to it as chakra once because it seemed like life energy. But Nagari forgot to say it was life energy, not just chakra. Luffy went to just find a book on it. Either find a book on biology, and one of the names people had called it was chakras. Not chakra, just chakras. So Luffy began reading everything in the library about chakras, and was able to find out just what they are, life force, and how basically in some countries or nations, chakra is used as a weapon. As it is the land of Wano Kuni reportedly has ninjas that use chakras to turn into clones or use ninjutsu or ninpo. So yeah, Luffy learned about that stuff, and that's all I can really say about it. Yeah, so Luffy began starting to just take take reference from what the book had said about the ninja Wano Kuni. Now Luffy's goal is not to become Pirate King; it's to visit the land of Wano. He doesn't have a marine; he can't go there. So the only option would be as a pirate or a merchant. But being a pirate is probably a little more safe. So yeah, Luffy just proceeds to learn new ninpo techniques. We're gonna go fast forward a few months to when Sabo's dad would want him back. Pochemi is now missing an arm, and Pochemi and his men. Pochemi's missing an arm, while his men are just bruised up. Still. But now I guess we'd go over to when I guess I'd say, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, so Sabo's dad outlook would gather everything about everything just for, I'd say, just to fight Sabo and Luffy. That's what Blue Gem gathers all his weapons for. So with that, he ended up just really gathering all their weapons. And now when they did find Aesop and Luffy just hanging out, Ace was noticeably a bit more toned for being 10 years old, same as Sabo. And Luffy was just hanging out and relaxing. Pause real quick. So Blue Jam and his crew gathered weapons, found Ace, Sabo, and Luffy. Luffy was just chilling out while Ace and Sabo gathered materials and began doing some heavy lifting. They had noticed that Ace and Sabo seemed a lot more built. Luffy just seemed like the lazy one. Blue Jam immediately just rushed at Luffy as fast as possible, trying to slam down like a sword in Luffy's head. But suddenly he realized that the blade would stop midway. Luffy was able to kind of roll out of the way and put his foot in the way. Then flipped up, and in the middle of the flip, kind of did a mid-air roundhouse kick to Blue Gem's head, knocking him out. As you can tell by now, Luffy's taking the move, but it's probably going to be a roundhouse kick. So Luffy just ran playing on his kunai that's actually made of metal now, or metal. The first guy he came across was being Pochemi, and says, I thought taking your arm would be good enough. Apparently it wasn't. Pochemi went to shoot Luffy in the face, but Luffy dodged, and Pochemi fell to the ground immediately. No one saw why, until they looked at his head. Sabo threw a kunai in it. So, yeah, Luffy kicks Pochemi's body out of the way, and then Luffy proceeds to cut through half a Blue Gem crew, and Ace proceeds to beat down the rest of them using just a basic metal staff. Not a pipe, a staff. Pause real quick. Okay, so, so Ace uses a metal staff to beat down most of the half of the Blue Gem crew. Luffy then cuts them down using a metal kunai. By the time they're done, not all of them are dead, but some of them are. Either it's Ace hitting them right in the temple with a steel staff, or Luffy stabbing them, or cutting them pretty deep. That's all I really see. Let's see, all I can really say about that, besides Sabo killing Pochemi, and then Blue Jam just being roundhouse kicked in the head. But yeah, so most of your terminal I'd watch Blue Jam True take that other loss, but that was really just a setup for something great. Ujam's crew tried to exhaust Luffy and Ace of their stamina, while then Sabo's dad, Ujam's crew tried to exhaust Luffy and his crew, tried to exhaust the ASL trio of their stamina, and then Sabo's dad would come in with an attack or grab. So Luffy's grabbed from behind, so is Ace, and Sabo's dad grabs Sabo. Which name's Outlook. So Outlook grabs Sabo, meaning dragging him away, but immediately one of the guards is thrown right in front of Outlook. Outlook straight turns around, seeing one of the guards, the guard that was holding Ace, is just beaten down unconscious, and the guard that Luffy had thrown is just pretty badly broken. Luffy just elbowed him in the neck and then just punched him right in the eye, full force, and knocked him out. So yeah, that's all. No, really that. Just Luffy would run towards Outlook, and Outlook turns around with a gun, but immediately a kunai is thrown right into the barrel. Now the kunai, as soon as the bullet is shot, the gun kind of just the whole barrel explodes, making Outlook's hand be burned. Then Sabo just spins around and punches his dad right, and I guess a small gap under your ribs, like that small gap, and this leads to Sabo punches him right there, making his dad just not pass out, but fall to the ground, really able to breathe. Luffy just axe kicks Sabo's dad's head, and they walk away from the guards. The moment the guards try to run after them, but Luffy just turns around, leaving one-handed hand seals, and Luffy then uses his first proper ninjutsu, fire style fireball jutsu. Uses it, and immediately all the guards are caught in the flames, being burned. Not all of them die, but some of them do. You guys have noticed Luffy already has a few bodies. Yeah, so I guess we should go through the next few months, because nothing else interesting would happen. Grab him on fire, well, get Luffy in front of it, and what good one-style jutsu should do. Luffy already knows how to do shadow clones, and yeah, Luffy already knows how to do shadow clones. And then we have Luffy already knowing his one-style jutsu. So you can imagine what would happen if multiple Luffys use one-style on that area. Let's see if any guards try to do anything. Well, like I said, shadow clones with Luffy. And also Luffy basically being more deadly than a regular assassin. He's more deadly than CP9 by the time he's 17. Just tell you that right now. But I guess we go over to but now we go over to so we go over to I guess when Sabo and Ace would leave. But when they're leaving, well, Luffy's outfit is more just Luffy's hair is just pretty long. It goes down a little below his chin. But Luffy has some of it held back in a man bun. And if he's just in action or something, kind of like what Bachi does with his hair, just Luffy's hair is a lot longer. We have Sabo, who just chills out, doing his own thing. Sabo heard about the revolution, he's gonna go do that. Sabo at this point uses a katana, like an Anbu katana. So yeah, Sabo uses his katana, plus he's pretty good with the staff. So then we go over to Ace, who's just going to make it a really strong crew. And well, Luffy learned to use Gomu Gomu insanely fast, but still went through training with it. With Luffy being Luffy plus a mixture of Itachi, he prepares his brother for anything. Because he cares about them a lot, but also it's the strongest one of them. He has to look out for them regardless. So by looking out for them, one of the things he teaches them is how to actually fight Devil Fruit user, and then how to just use a Devil Fruit in case you have one. He does say that he's heard rumors of more than one Devil Fruit kind, being Logia, Paramecia, and Zone. Zone are animals, or animal types, which could be omnivore, carnivore, omnivorous, carnivorous, herbivore, that kind of stuff. And he describes what those kinds of animals are. Like omnivore would eat plants and meat, or carnivore most likely would give you more of a killing intent. What we have to do is kind of just be able to tap into that, but also be able to hold it back, but also be able to transform at will. So it does take a lot of training and discipline. While being a herbivore, I think you just have to be a more peaceful person, but also be willing to do anything not do anything, but be able to protect yourself, but also don't have a killing intent. I think that'd make you a lot stronger as a herbivore. Well, omnivore would take a mixture of discipline, but also a decent heart. And then we go over to a Logia. That's a Devil Fruit where basically you're no longer a human. You're basically just made of an element. Like for example, fire. You made of fire. And Ace also seeing with these fireball jutsu, he does know how fire would work in a better degree. So yeah, so Luffy just teaches Ace once he basically teaches both of his brothers just how, like, so you can say, for example, fire's Logate would work. Like basically, just you have to feel like you're fire. You have to feel your soul, and usually just learn how to go in and out, being living flesh, and being living flame. So just know the difference between physical body and the difference between your flaming body. There's no difference. But then I guess we'd go over to I'd say just the paramecia. Luffy trains like daily with it, so they know how it works perfectly. So when Ace does get his Marinomi, he already knows how to control it decently. Like for the first week, it was kind of weird, but then as the training got more and more intense, well, it makes your discipline plus just knowing the difference between living body and the flaming body. It worked. So just intense meditation would really do it for Ace. Plus also just learning how to use his abilities. But now we go over to when Luffy would leave out to be a pirate himself. Luffy leaves, well, kind of just like wearing basic Anbu gear, just instead of like having the chest plate and short sleeve shirt, he has a long sleeve shirt, black Anbu pants, shinobi sandals, and he has a headband and plus a straw hat. So he has a headband plus the headband plus straw hat, and the headband does have like it says like straw hat on the side of it. Like it has like the word straw hat, and then in front of it would just say Luffy. But yeah. And then we go over to what, let's say, these are others. So just long sleeve shirt with like chest plate on the front of it and everything, and then Anbu pants, shinobi sandals, those gloves, swords, kunai, shuriken. Basically all decked out in battle gear, but he usually has the chest plate off. Then we go over to, let's say, just when Luffy would meet Alvida's crew. Oh, Luffy's pretty decent at sailing, so while he sails around, he's able to actually just get Alvida's ship a little bit earlier. Let's say 4 hours earlier. So as soon as he gets like decently close to the ship, you can tell that Alvida's crew being looking at the ship wanting to rob him. But as soon as they want to as soon as one of them wants to act on it, they're ready their gun, Luffy already weaved one-handed hand seals and need one more seal. So does that one more seal, and then yells, "Water style, water dart jutsu." And shoots a very slim stream of water and goes straight through the ship. The ship begins sinking immediately, and I burped mid-sentence. The ship begins sinking, and Alvida's crew begins panicking because they didn't see that coming. In response to what Luffy does, just kicking all of them into the water, hoping one of them would at least delve for the user. But by the time he sees that none of them aren't, he kind of just gives up, and the last guy, just being some random person, Luffy just elbows him right in the nose, breaking it and knocking him out. Well, then with Alvida, he legit just punched her in his chest full force and you're flying. So, yeah. Luffy's base physical strength is on level of pre-times Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Bazooka. He's insanely strong. So, yeah, Luffy doesn't even need Gomu Gomu no Bazooka to have that same amount of power. Luffy looks at Kobe and picks him up and jumps onto his boat. It's Kobe who questions what Luffy wants. Luffy explains, he already can tell that Kobe is not a fighter. Kobe does feel embarrassed by people knowing that is that obvious, but he doesn't really care anymore. Now we go over to, let's say, soon Luffy and Kobe get to Shelltown. Let them get to Shelltown. They get there a few hours early, and when Luffy gets off the boat, his first one off, and, well, Luffy just pulls out his sword because he does feel something's off. But immediately, Luffy would turn around, seeing a Marine with a gun pointed at his face. But the Marine didn't realize that Luffy had a sword pointed right at his groin until he kind of just poked it with the tip of the blade. The Marine jumped until he realized his blade was in the air, and Luffy just cut it in half, saying, Now why did you aim a gun at my face without me even doing anything? The Marine said Luffy had a ton of weapons with him. He points to Luffy's kunai, shuriken, and sinbone pouch, plus the sword that he has in his hand. Luffy says that it's for self-defense. So, with that, well, the Marine tries to punch at Luffy, but Luffy just hits him right in the nose with his with the hilt of his sword, the back of his bottom whatever it is. So Luffy hits him right nose with that, knocking him out. And then they go in a cafe, and the whole thing about Zoro. That Luffy goes back to the dinghy, putting on his battle gear, and yeah. So with that, Luffy just completely proceeds to like run in the marine base. As he runs into it, basically dropping everyone left and right like they're nothing. By the time he's done just dropping every single marine in sight, he grabs Zoro's 3 swords and runs out. And yes, notice what I said, he bodied every single marine in there, not included Morgan. Because Luffy was running through when Morgan was like walking out of the room, but he was kind of just didn't see Luffy in time. And what Luffy just did is just jump and kick him right in the chin, and then proceed to run. So as soon as Helmeppo would walk in there, just from like walking his wolf, he would see every single marine is thrown around, and Morgan's unconscious. Helmeppo is looking around looking for the culprit, but only to see Luffy, well, cutting Zoro free. Zoro questions Luffy is till suddenly a gunshot is heard, and Zoro realizes that like something loud cracked. Looks over, seeing Luffy's armor is shattered, or some of it is. Zoro begins panicking, thinking that Luffy just got shot. But he looks at Helmeppo, who's bleeding a lot more. Helmeppo begins screaming in pain, as Luffy's skin basically just reflects the bullet back, like his armor broke, his shirt got burned off, well, partially shirt, not all of it, but like the whole head of a bullet was there, burned, and Luffy's skin just shot a bullet right back at him, and hit Helmeppo right in the shoulder. Kobe kind of wrapped like a bandage around Helmeppo's arm. And, well, Kobe heard from the villagers how terrible the Marines here were. Kobe is kind of worried that all the Marines are like that, so Kobe's a little bit of a worrywart about this. Now, Luffy is Zoro about to leave, because Luffy did say Zoro owes him now. Zoro would ask Luffy, is he a pirate? Luffy says he's not a pirate, he wants to go to Wano Kuni. Zoro's never heard of such a place, but Luffy explains Zoro's a serious swordsman, he'll love it. Now, Zoro does acknowledge himself as a serious swordsman, and would ask to be told about Wano Kuni. Now, Zoro asks what Luffy is first, because, like, oh, you have a sword, you're a swordsman? He says, no, he's a ninja, or shinobi. So Luffy claims himself as a shinobi. By the way, because he's playing Luffy's Sharingan. He's at 2 Tomoe right now, 2. So, like, he's not doing anything insane until, like he'll have 3 Tomoe before not Alice. He'll have 3 Tomoe before, not 3 Tomoe before Sabaody, but easily gonna have 2 Tomoe for the whole East Blue. Yep, so Luffy would just talk to Zoro about what Wano is, and Zoro would think of it as a samurai shinobi paradise. Zoro would realize that these are some techniques here that, well, he can't just can't just ignore. These techniques that are too impressive. But if what I'm about to do, I'm gonna push back some dates, like for some things, I'm gonna push them back. Just to say that right now. So Zoro would tell Luffy about like everything, like, oh yeah, well, there was like my master, he's a swordsman, I'm pretty sure he's heard of Wano, so when you want to, we should go there. Luffy explains, once he gathers the crew members, when he thinks he has enough crew members, from the East Blue, they'll go there first and leave. So Zoro accepts that answer, and they get on the boat. So yeah, Zoro with the mixture wanting to find Wano with Luffy, plus he owes Luffy a favor, so that works. So, but now we go over to let me pause real quick. So, before I left off, but Luffy and Zoro about to leave. They're about to leave. Luffy and Zoro about to leave, and Kobe joins them. Now the next stop would be Orange Town. Oh, my bad. So they get to Orange Town, and when they get there, well, this time when Luffy doesn't chase a giant seagull in the sky, he does know better. So instead, he just throws a kunai at it, and it kills it. But as they keep on sailing, they get there a lot faster, because, well, they sail. And while sailing, Luffy ends up coming across, you just still come across Nami. Not Nami, I mean. They can get there, they come across Nami still. And the guys chasing her, well, they're not there. Because Nami started chasing them after. So, yeah. Now, Luffy just proceeds to talk to Nami, because she thinks Luffy's pretty handsome, and try to, like, persuade him into, like, giving her some money. But as soon as, like, she began like, getting more touchy, like, on the topic of money, easing into it, Luffy just looked at her saying, if you want money, just ask normally. Nami just says, well, can I get some money? He says, hell no. Walks away from her, and she begins yelling at him, saying, how dare you? I'm in need. I'm a pretty woman. He says, if you think you're pretty, you're overstepping your boundaries. Or overestimating yourself. Nami immediately froze, as Zoro just laughed, saying, "That's my captain for you." But Zoro's bandana, he cut the top of it off to leave it as a headband because he thought Luffy's headband was already pretty cool. So yeah. But back to just Buggy's crew. Luffy had noticed there's no village, but there's a gigantic pirate crew on the roof. So once Luffy looked at Zoro, offering him like, "Want to take the whole crew?" So Zoro just says, "No, why not? We're bored anyway. Plus, I'm pretty sure that if we take anything, we'll be arrested, or at least in trouble." Luffy would nod, saying, "Probably." Should I go Shinobi or Samurai on this one? But Luffy's saying this to Zoro. Zoro says, "Well, I haven't seen your samurai skills, so how about that?" Luffy takes off his Shinobi jacket. Not Shinobi jacket, I mean. Takes off his armor plate because it's already broken. He kind of just like scraps it, throwing it in the water. No, that's littering. He kind of just throws it in the trash bin. And then Luffy proceeds to take off his shirt, saying that he'll do this with no armor or protection. And Zoro asks Luffy about like his rubber abilities. Luffy did explain also to Zoro. Luffy explains, it's very, 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 very weak to blades. So just if they have guns, then that's where they'll be at a disadvantage. But if they use swords, who knows? We could be at an even playing field. Zoro immediately chuckles, saying, "Someone being equal with you? I can't imagine that idea." Luffy just chuckles, saying, Thank you for having so much faith in me." I almost said face. Luffy said, "Thank you for having so much faith in me." Luffy holds out his hands. Zoro just puts one foot on them. Luffy throws Zoro into the air onto the roof. He then jumps onto one, and then they rush towards Buggy's crew. Now Luffy just proceeds to slash down most of the guys who come at him, while Zoro slashes down everyone except for Kabuji. Kabuji's fighting style was a little complicated, but fun. So you guys wondering about Kobe. He's watching. That's really it. Because he can't fight at all. He's working out, but that's really it. And Zoro just works out as much as possible. That's really it. That's what I mean. Kobe works out as much as possible. So while he's waiting and watching, he's just doing push-ups. Yeah. So eventually we go to Luffy versus Moji and Zoro versus Kabuji. This is Zoro working out a little bit more. Plus Luffy showing him a bit of techniques that he did say were supposedly from Wano, from a swordsman that was just a merchant. This merchant was actually from Wano. He's very sketchy. That's really it. Or seems to be sketchy. He's a good guy. It's just a miscellaneous swordsman. That's really it. It was like a master that can beat Zoro or anything, but he's decent. Luffy began using some Wano Kuni techniques. We taught to Zoro. Dinghy isn't that big though. Big enough to fit at least 5 people, but that's really it. Some of those fishing boats you'd see at a boat dock. They're not super huge, but they're decent. There's a area below deck where they sleep, and then there's a deck for fishing. It's not big, but it's a space. That's kind of boat Luffy has. Just not as modern. Zoro and Kobe have enough room to train that, while Luffy teaches Zoro some Wano Kuni techniques. Zoro during the time is already able to cut steel, so when he fights Mr. 1, that fight will be a complete wash. But so Zoro's able to cut down Kabuji after getting a feel for his fighting style, and Zoro's learning to adapt to more styles and use it as his own. While Luffy cut down Moji and Richie in a single slash. Then goes towards Buggy, as Buggy would start to look familiar, and realize that Kabuji has been defeated as well. But realize that Kabuji doesn't have a single slash on him. Zoro just spun his blade in a certain direction after getting a feel for Kabuji's fighting style, and broke his blade. Then, as the blade was still spinning, he hit Kabuji right in the neck with a blunt part full force, and it did leave a slight cut, but it was just enough force to knock him out. But now, last opponent, Buggy. The Buggy fired at Luffy, trying to I would kill you, shooting his arms out first, but Buggy made one mistake, looking Luffy in his damn eyes. Buggy used Genjutsu, Luffy used Genjutsu on Buggy, and Buggy fell to the ground unconscious. So Zoro noticed Luffy's eyes are red and questioned him about it. Luffy just says, his eyes are called the Sharingan. And Luffy proceeds to tilt the straw hat down a bit, covering his eyes, and he deactivates the Sharingan. It looks towards Kobe, who's doing insane amounts of push-ups, as Nami actually thought it was present and been keeping count while sitting on Kobe's back. Nami yelled, "He's at 1,000 so far." Luffy just says, "Kobe, that's enough." Kobe immediately claps, saying, "I think every single muscle in my arm tore." He tore every single muscle in his arm, that's what Kobe thinks. Luffy picks him up, and Nami saying, "Probably." Now, Nami realized that Luffy picked up her and Kobe. He picked up Kobe by his shirt, and he somehow made Kobe balance enough, or had Kobe, use enough balance for Kobe to actually, have Kobe stand up normally. Have Nami stand up normally. So eventually he put Kobe down on the dinghy, and then he sat down on the dinghy as well with Zoro, and they began sailing away. Now I guess the next stop would be what to think of it. I forgot. Surf Village. That was it. So they go to Surf Village, and by the time they get there, well, it's really it. So they just go over to Surf Village, and Usopp doesn't think they're pirates because they're kind of on a small fishing dinghy, but does see two of them with swords, and just see one of them just working out just insane amount. And yeah, Luffy does start giving Kobe some martial arts training once he does think Kobe is physically strong enough, because Kobe works out an insane amount to the point where he's getting muscle mass too fast for normal humans. Well, it'd be too fast for normal humans, but Luffy does start teaching Kobe some martial arts instead of just making him work out. But sorry about that. Now we go over to just when Luffy and Usopp began talking, because Luffy noticed Usopp was watching him. Luffy just appeared behind Usopp and began talking to him for a bit. Luffy was just nervous at how fast Luffy appeared behind him. It was the body flicker jutsu. If any of you are unfamiliar with how fast ninjas are in Naruto, without their normal speed, it's a body flicker or flying Raijin, which very few shinobi can use. So yeah. But now we go over to, let's say, Luffy and Usopp keep talking. They go over to the town and begin talking inside the cafe. Usopp gets Luffy a rundown what the town is, and then later Usopp leaves to go see Kaya. While Luffy would follow him sneakily, just in case Usopp actually gets caught, because it's known that pause real quick. So Luffy would just Usopp follow him a bit. And then when Kuro actually begins trying to intervene with Usopp, or thinks he sees Usopp going through the bush, Luffy flicks a rock at him, and when Kuro turns around, Luffy says one word, but Usopp didn't hear it. That one word was only because Kuro was close enough to hear Luffy whisper it, and it was an audible genjutsu. Luffy is just now testing these out. When they used the genjutsu, Kuro immediately was placed under it and ignored Usopp was there. Luffy just flipped over the gate and landed against Kaya's wall. Now, Luffy was a little curious about Kuro because Luffy's an experienced fighter. You can tell that Kuro's a fighter. Luffy landed in front of Kuro and used Genjutsu on him using Sharingan to peer into his memories. Bring Kuro to somewhere where not even Usopp could see him or anywhere else. He's able to dive into Kuro's memories and get everything about his whole life. By the time he's done, Luffy would push Kuro inside, and Kuro's has a giant bruise on his cheek. Let's pause one more time, sorry. Alright, so Kuro would walk in with a bruise on his cheek, and Mary and Kaya immediately run down, a little curious what happened to Kuro. Kuro had said that there was someone who was new in the village, but happened to know Kuro's past. And Kuro explained he went through everything, his plans for the village and everything. Kaya thought that Kuro was lying until realized that Kuro was actually telling the truth. He'd say he hated working here and plotted Kaya's parents' death. Kaya almost passed out from just being nervous when Luffy caught her, saying, "Kuro, that's enough." Now, Mary immediately thought Luffy would tricked him into saying weird things, but Luffy explained, no, he's a real pirate. He even has a bounty poster. Now with that, Mary's actually a little more convinced, and actually does ask Luffy why Kuro's like this. Luffy explains, and it's an ability, it's a somewhat of a truth serum. I trick his mind into only saying the truth and being passive. So with that, Mary takes that, and she asks Luffy, can he tap and restrain Kuro somewhere? Luffy agrees that there is somewhere. If he does, it's just tie Kuro to a pillar in the front of the town, using rope, and weighing his legs down with anything that was heavy. So, yeah. But now we go to, I guess, just when Kuro's crew would arrive, or Django at least. When Django arrives, he sees Kuro just tied up in the middle of the village, covered in bruises, dirt, blood, everything. Kuro doesn't know how he was caught, because the first time someone hit him, he broke the Genjutsu. But no one knows how he was caught. Django doesn't know. And tells Kuro was caught. This time it's not just for our captain. We have to it's not for the village or the money. You have to save our captain. They get there, they actually fill out what's called in the village, but they met with Zoro. So as soon as Django would run at Luffy, well, it was Luffy. Suzango would run at Zoro, swinging his medallion around, throw it. Well, what happens is basically just Zoro pulls out Wado and slashes it in half. Because, well, Jungle thought he'd catch Zoro off guard by throwing it. But Zoro just cuts it in half, then appears right behind him, slashing his back pretty deep. So, yeah. Now the next but the next, let's say, the next thing would just be the Melvin brothers, because they're the next important ones. Then they would come at Zoro. Well, Zoro just pulls out 2 swords, and begins cutting down one of them, then use the other sword for that one. Eventually that's done, and we go over to just, the other guards. Other members of the crew, and Zoro cuts them down himself. Now, everyone had known that Luffy planned this out, and when Zoro came back, like one of the villagers whispered in Zoro's ear, like asking, "Hey, is that guy that planned everything? Is he like your subordinate? Because he doesn't seem too strong. He looks pretty frail." And Zoro started laughing, saying, "You think he's frail?" And I have to pause so much. So basically, Zoro just burst out laughing, explaining Luffy's his captain, and Zoro can never dream of reaching Luffy's strength. The villagers heard this. They're a little shocked, because Zoro seemed like strong. He took down the whole pirate crew himself, using 2 swords out of his 3. But that's what Zoro explains. Some of the moves he used, Luffy taught him himself. And Luffy is just a sheer genius. That's why he's able to do everything else. So, yeah, Zoro just explains that Luffy's his captain, and Zoro merely just listens to what Luffy has to say, because whatever Luffy says is most likely right, which is not wrong. So, yeah. Now we go to the crew about to leave. So, Luffy notices dinghy's missing, and Usopp is as well. Luffy immediately thought that Usopp stole his dinghy, and he's kind of pissed off. But then immediately he had realized that there's the ship outside, and Usopp is sitting on it. Usopp yells, saying, "Hey, Luffy, this ship is a thank you from the village." Maybe he had already built it, but while Luffy stayed there extra few days, because I was pushing some things back, because I had some other things planned, the villagers actually, the ones that know how to build and add on like houses, ships, that kind of stuff, they took apart some of the ship and then adding onto it, make it a little bit bigger. Well, now the ship's bigger, and well, it's big. Not as big as the Sunny, but bigger than the Mary. Luffy immediately just runs and jumps onto the boat, saying, "Wow, the village did this for us?" So it says the boat was already built, but they added on to it. Now we're going to go to Kobe. Kobe, working out so much, actually lost a crap ton of weight and is actually a little more fit. I'm going to tell you the martial art that Luffy is learning currently. He's learning Kyokushin Karate. Kobe is learning Kyokushin Karate from Luffy and basic Taekwondo. I've been reading I've been rereading Viral Hit, so the fight between Taehyun and Yonu, that fight is so fresh in my mind, so Kyokushin Karate and Taekwondo. And yeah. So now we're just gonna go over we go to, let's say, guess just them leaving. They're leaving, Kobe comes with them, and Usopp comes with them still, Zoro's with them, Nami's with them. Nami has to admit, the whole plan Luffy took out just for Zoro to be waiting. The plan was not very complex, but in case one of them at least got past Zoro. Well, the villagers were in their house, the ones with guns were the ones in front, and if one person got past Zoro, firing squad opened. If one more villager got past that, or not one more villager, if one more bad guy got past that, past gunfire and Zoro, then Usopp was able to make a firebird shot with the help of Luffy, and Usopp opened fire alongside Kobe, just throwing heavy rocks. So either way, there's no way that bad guy was getting to Kaya at all. So I guess all that's next would be I guess the Baratier arc. So they go to Baratier, and when they get there, it's a pretty just chill thing. So yeah, they eat their food, Gin walks in, that goes the same way, up until Don Krieg would burst in, demanding that they hand over all their money and the ship. But in response, with just Don Krieg demanding the ship be handed over, Luffy approaches Don Krieg. And this point, Luffy, because he has some of Itachi's body, Luffy's height is around 5'8", so yeah. So yeah, but with that, when Don Krieg would see Luffy approach him, Don Krieg's pretty tall compared to Luffy still, but doesn't know Luffy's decently sized. Now Sanji was about to approach Don Krieg himself, but Luffy approached him first. Don Krieg immediately said, "Hey, what do you want, you pipsqueak? To stop me?" But in response, Don Krieg, not Don Krieg, but everyone else realized that Don Krieg stopped talking and his eyes kind of rolled in the back of his head. So Zoro decides, saying, "Shouldn't insult my captain, or endanger innocents." Sanji then says, "Wow, why pirates care about the innocent?" And Zoro says, "Well, me and my captain aren't pirates. Well, none of us are. We have a certain goal. But on the way, well, to do it, we may have to be pirates. Or act like them, at least. Or fight Marines. Well, actually, they're not really pirates. What would happen is just, as they sail around, they would have to fight Marines. Because getting to Wano as a Marine would not happen. Unless you're like a high-ranking member of them. So, yeah. So, but we go to what was it? We go to just we're just gonna talk about in the Luffy's topic of just being Zoro's topic about telling Sanji that they're not pirates. So we'll have to fight Marines just to get their goal. And Sanji asks what this goal is, and Zoro explains the island called Wano Kuni. It's a shinobi. Well, it's a ninja and samurai paradise, and him and Luffy's a shinobi, Zoro's a samurai. They want to go to Wano. So Sanji kind of thinks that's pretty cool, and tells Zoro about his goal of the All Blue. What's the goal of the All Blue? And by the way, Luffy likes meat, just not steak, really, because that's like Itachi's least favorite food. So Luffy does have like a few different favorite foods, and Zoro then says, apparently Wano has also a different variety of food. Or fish, or something like that. So my captain would love some different foods from Wano that you could make for him. He's like a pretty good cook and a pretty strong fighter. Until your body's decently built. That Sanji says, if you're asking me to join your group, no. That's when Sanji takes a look at Luffy, and you realize that Don Krieg's armor completely shattered. Luffy is just elbow Don Krieg right in the chest, and every single bit of his armor being shattering. And no one noticed it until like Don Krieg's arm began falling to the ground. Don Krieg fell over as he spat out blood, and then Luffy dashed right out the door to Don Krieg's crew, pulling out a sword, and Luffy then uses a different technique. He called it Windblade. Once Luffy pulled his sheath down, pulled his sword out of his sheath, he had used his Windblade, and the Windblade was invisible. So Zoro didn't know about Luffy's ninjutsu. He didn't. So when he saw Luffy use Windblade, he thought Luffy was just holding something invisible, or thought Luffy was just messing around. But then Luffy began using the Windblade, and as Zoro could tell, Luffy has an invisible sword, or something. It's Itachi began seeing this as well. Luffy got down every single pirate in his path, until suddenly Don Krieg's boat was cut in half. But yeah, Jigen watched Luffy cut through his crew like they were butter. As soon as Pearl began approaching Luffy just slashed down from the head first, cutting Pearl clean in half. And Sanji could tell that Luffy is a ninja, but he's more of a samurai than Zoro. But yeah, so I guess the next spot would be just the next thing would be Mihawk versus Zoro. So Luffy would note Mihawk is part of Zoro's goal. Like Zoro's first goal is to become the strongest swordsman in the world, and Mihawk is a strong swordsman. Zoro fights Mihawk, and Zoro still loses, but this time he's a lot stronger, way stronger. So eventually, it's like Zoro does lose. This time when Mihawk stabs Zoro in the chest, he doesn't do it because Zoro's able to block the attack and spin the blade to fling Mihawk's tiny knife in the air, and Zoro kicks it down towards Mihawk. And Mihawk does note these attacks are not like swordsman-like, but Zoro's making use of what he can do against a stronger opponent while using blades only. So Mihawk then tells Zoro he's not a swordsman, but he's a master of blades. Because normal swordsman would not kick a blade that's not his or kick a knife down at someone. Zoro just wants to be a master of blades. What Zoro does say, he'll take that. He'll take that as long as he can beat Mihawk with a sword. So yeah, Zoro began fighting Mihawk again, and Mihawk does still slash Zoro across his chest, but Mihawk does have one scratch. So when Zoro kicks his blade down, Mihawk got a scratch on his cheek. It wasn't deep, but it's a notable scratch. And Mihawk would note this is the first time in a while someone got a scratch on him. Now, you guys are wondering about Mihawk versus Shanks in the future. Shanks has 2 arms. Let me beat up the bandits. So there's no need for Mihawk to say that Shanks can't be his opponent anymore. So now Luffy's turn versus Mihawk. Luffy and Mihawk rush at each other, and Luffy immediately just jumped away. And Mihawk was questioning what Luffy's doing. Is he retreating? Doesn't realize that Luffy's arm began stretching, and Luffy had yelled, the tornado slicing. Luffy does with tornado slicing is just use one chakra in his blade, spins his arm around in the air as fast as possible, and Mihawk has to just avoid every single slash, because each time Mihawk would block it, a wind slash would just attack him as well. These techniques are very weird, because, well, Mihawk hasn't fought wind delve through. He's fought hockey slashes, but this is wind. You can't see it. So eventually, after around 10 minutes of fighting Luffy, Mihawk would note that the wind-style jutsu is hard to avoid. Luffy just used a barrage of wind-style jutsu and everything. Initially, Mihawk just had a few cuts from not being able to avoid Luffy, but a few of them like were just blocked with armament hockey. But Mihawk did say that Luffy's a lot more impressive with Zoro, not with, but than Zoro, and to say that if Luffy were ever to become a master swordsman, he'd beat everyone. So yeah, I guess now the next thing would be Kokoyashi Village. So this time Nami doesn't Nami doesn't steal the ship because he doesn't know that Luffy's strong. Not to mention Johnny Yosuke. Zoro did tell him about their goal to go to Wano Kuni, and Johnny Yosuke were like, well, since you're not really the leader of us anymore, me and Johnny have the goal of being like legendary fishermen. And this is like a little bit of him, but they didn't blow a hole through the Bratier, but there's something on Luffy's boat. And what Luffy does talk to them about is just like Luffy says, there's reportedly in Wano, how to get there, and you have to go to waterfall that are filled with gigantic carp the size of regular fishing boats. Fishing boats like the regular size, like sailing boats or civilian vessels. It's like civilian ships. And then Yosuke were immediately interested, saying, we're going to go to Wano and find those fish. So now, Luffy wants to go to Wano and become a master shinobi. Zoro wants to go to Wano and become the best samurai in the world, or best swordsman, or blade master. And then Johnny Yosuke want to go there because they want to catch giant fish. And Nami just wants to go with them because they're going with the Grand Line, the New World, to a whole different country that's untouched by normal people. So, yeah. Well, Usopp is going along because if he makes it to Wano, he'll at least be considered a brave warrior of the sea. And Kobe is going because, well, his quote-unquote Luffy senpai is going. But now we go to, I guess, when they get to Arlong Park. With their Johnny Yosuke and Zoro had gotten some different sword training, and it was just in the basic Wano techniques that Luffy had learned. And Luffy taught Zoro everything he knew, because Luffy's a better teacher than a regular teacher. So, yeah. And Luffy kind of learned it from a person who was a professional teacher, so Luffy's able to teach it normally. The reason Luffy's a good teacher is because it's in Sabo. So yeah, so Zoro's able to learn the Wano Kuni techniques pretty well, and Johnny Yosuke are picking them up. So Zoro's pretty proud of his Wano Kuni techniques, because if we were to fight Mr. One, he'd beat him he'd beat him like it was the easiest thing he's ever done. But now the next thing would be Arlong Park. They get there, and Luffy looks at Zoro, asking if he's okay enough to just Nami did tell him about the Marines and everything. So Luffy asked Johnny Yosuke if they're strong enough. Zoro, Johnny Yosuke, if they're strong enough to fight Arlong's crew. And Zoro explains he can do it in his sleep, which Zoro can. Luffy then says, Johnny, Yosuke, Zoro, and Usopp will take down the fishmen, while he and Sanji, Kobe, and Nami will take down the Marines. They agree with this, and Zoro, Johnny Yosuke, and Usopp are dropped off, then the rest of them sail towards the Marine base. So when they get there, Luffy would just, the Marines are skeptical on who Luffy is, until one of them pulls out a bounty poster. Luffy didn't know he had a bounty. Luffy doesn't really read the news, or get anything from a news queue. Luffy's bounty, 36 million. That's a weird number, but 36. The fact that, he beat Don Krieg, and some people reported it was with a single elbow. So, yeah. So when he elbowed Don Krieg, it was just something like, oh, that's impressive. And then Luffy proceeded to beat all of Don Krieg's crew, even land a few blows on Mihawk. Well, Full Body did see Mihawk later and asked Mihawk what happened to him. And Miyako, not being ashamed, would say, "Oh, I fought some kid with a sword and stretchy body." And well, full body lesson you saw before leaving was Luffy beat up Don Krieg. So assume that was just Luffy, and Luffy's planning for scratching Mihawk wouldn't be 36; it'd be a lot higher than that probably. But then Luffy also stirred up trouble in Shelltown by beating up the Marines there, and the Marines there were outed as corrupt once Garp got there to stop by. Garp arrested them all. Then Kuro's crew was beaten on Sword Village. Those Marines were called and they got arrested. Luffy's making waves. Well, Zoro beat the ones at Sword Village, but it was reportedly Luffy's plan. And Garp did say, well, if Luffy's thinking this stuff, that's nothing. If he were to use his full intelligence, he could probably rule a country and then drive it into the ground and rebuild it back up in months. So yeah. So when Garp said that, he just said Luffy's intelligence remains something that should be feared by everyone. Currently, Luffy is the smartest person in the East Blue, without a doubt. Luffy's current bounty would be boosted up to, let's say, 80 million. This seems fair for someone who's reincarnation of Itachi. So, yeah. But now, I guess we'd go over to the Marine base. So the Marines had put on at least one poster, and then they may be firing guns at Luffy. Luffy just cuts the bullets in half easily while using a Sharingan. Luffy puts his sword away, saying, "I've used this too much. I haven't done a good bare knuckle brawl." He runs towards the Marines and begins taking them down pretty easily. And I just think this is a little too easy. Then she comes across Captain Nezumi and makes complete light work of him. The time he's done with Nezumi, well, Luffy does say, the last word for while Nezumi's conscious is, "Your lowest ranking soldier was stronger than you." And headbutts Nezumi into the ground. And then the next person would be, then with that, I guess would be, let's say, just the random Marine that heard all the rest along earlier. Those Marines, well, they leave. They watch Luffy and Nami, Sanji and Kobe did help, by the way. Nami didn't do a thing, but yeah. So by the time those Marines arrive, they see these Fry leaving, and then we go to Kokugashi Village. We see Zoro sitting on top of Arlong as Johnny Yosuke would cut down the rest of those Marines. Not Marines, I mean the rest of those fishing pirates. While Usopp just hit shooting the face with a lead ball, and then hit Kirby right in the kneecap with one, and that broke his leg, and then hit up in the face with a fireball. Not fireball, I mean Firestar. Then Hachi's beaten by Johnny Yosuke teaming up on him, and yeah. So, pause real quick. I guess the next thing would be, stopping by Shimosuke Village, because Nami's village thanked her after the Marines went to follow Straw Hats, and then Arlong Shuhara got arrested, and then the ship was hidden, and then so were the Straw Hats. But I forgot to go with Zoro's bounty. His bounty is going to be 30 million. That's Zoro's bounty, 30 million. But, yeah, back to this. So, now, let's talk about Shimosuke Village. Luffy has to by there to meet with Koshiro to know if he knows any different Wano Kuni techniques. So when Koshiro does admit he does know some, Zoro will question why Koshiro didn't teach him. Koshiro will question why Zoro wants to know, and how does he know what Wano is. Then Luffy explains some swordsman from Wano who is pretty old, stopped by his village, and taught Luffy the basics of the techniques, and wants to know if Koshiro knows any advanced ones. Koshiro teaches Luffy some different basics from different styles, and teach them to Zoro as well. This lasts around 1 week. Then with that being done with, Sanji also did learn some, he was able to incorporate, some sword techniques into kicks. His leg with a blade. That's how he does it. So with that, Sanji was able to make use of those techniques, and it's pretty damn fun. Kobe just learned some basic sword techniques as well, besides some basic martial arts. Kobe at this point starts getting a little taller as well. But now they go over Rich Mountain after a while. And they meet Laboon, Crocus, that goes the same way. They meet Vivi, Mr. 9, that goes the same way. And now we go over to but now we go to just Whiskey Peak. Luffy immediately tells them this is off, something is off here, and it's not even Not just because like evil's killing intent. It's just because these guys don't seem like good people. They're lying to us the whole time. They're all on guard. Even Sanji, who's been talking to beautiful women, and he's ashamed. Well, he's sad that these was a shame to him that these women are deadly. I'm gonna kill him. But by the time they start attacking, Sanji's able to defend himself. Not hit them or anything, but just like chop them back to the neck full force and knock them out. Then Zoro's already able to cut them down. Immediately they begin attacking him. And then when Luffy walked into a building, he put the clothesline and closed the blinds and just took them all down himself. It was pretty easy. So yeah. Now, I guess just when Mr. 5 and Mr. Valentine appear. Mr. 5 appears, tries to like blow up Luffy. Luffy using his new like armor is able to block it. This armor is insanely durable to the point where the moment he hits it, armor gets scratched. That's really it. Luffy just appears right behind Mr. 5, and then says, this is some insane firepower. Want to see mine? Mr. 5 just chuckles, saying, sure, explosions don't hurt me. Luffy kicks him right in the air, and Luffy then yells, this is an explosion. First off, fireball jutsu. It then hits Mr. 5 with it, and Mr. 5 is pretty badly burnt up. And as he's in the midst of being burnt, Luffy uses another jutsu, Fire Dragon Jutsu, and completely, kind of turns him almost not to dust, but he doesn't even look normal. He's just a very burnt. He looks like a ghoul from Fallout 4 with all the burns. As Mr. 5 hits the ground, he's basically just dead. And then we see Miss Valentine being handled by Nami, who's decently stronger because she incorporates sword techniques into her staff. And when she used those techniques, well, she beat Miss Valentine. Sanji can't fight a woman. Zoro wanted to watch Luffy. Johnny Yosu wanted to watch Luffy. Kobe wanted to watch Luffy. Sanji just can't hit a woman. So yeah, Nami's the only one that was interested in fighting. So now I guess we go over to when they get to Little Garden. Dude, Miss Valentine, Mr. 5, Miss Valentine aren't there. It's just Mr. 3 and everyone else. But Mr. 3 is kind of sent on cleanup duty for Whiskey Peak, so he can't really do a thing there. Egon and Miss Monday were not harmed, but neither was Mr. 9. But yeah. But I don't really think there's anything else to do at Whiskey Peak because Mr. 3 is not there, Miss Golden Week isn't there. So I guess it's just like the random mole or something and the giant vulture, which are taken down by Sanji and cooked for dinner. And then the island being Drum Island, but the Stars weren't there at Whiskey Peak for a long time. They talk to Dory and Rocky, they get along for a bit, and then they leave. So they're for like at most a few minutes. Or no, at least a few minutes, and then they leave. From Drum Island. So Nami isn't sick, they just wanted to stop by and get some food from from Drum Island. So stop by and get food from there. They're not with guns, because Luffy does say it's not wise to go to a civilian island with a pirate flag up. It was just a civilian ship, like a civilian, they should have like normal Jolly Roger, normal flag up. But I'm tired right now, so I'm in this part here. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment for another part.